Hey, my name is Mike, the lead pastor of Focus Church. Welcome back to talking about volunteer expectations on the weekend. We recently talked about coming to 10 till 10, then we talked about staying 10 minutes after the service. Today, we're going to be kind of explaining why we wear lanyards and name tags. I know that this might seem really elementary for some, but it is critical because it's more than just an identifiable marker for your name. It's more than just people being able to see your name. It's actually a sign of authority. And it's not only a sign of authority, it also says you have answers. And so if you're gonna wear a lanyard on the weekend, you need to be prepared to answer tough questions, maybe easy questions, any question at all, really. So if you're a kids worker, greeter, an usher, anyone with a lanyard on should be able to know where restrooms are, what time the service will get started, what time the service will end. You also need to know maybe some of our theological beliefs, because people will ask you, hey, what does this church believe about this? It's really important that you understand that it's more than just a name tag for people to know who you are. It's really permission for you to answer questions on the church's behalf. You are an ambassador of the Focus Church brand when you put that lanyard on. That means that the language that you use needs to be godly and holy. That means that the demeanor upon which you dress and show up to church, it needs to reflect that of a leader and that of a volunteer that comes prepared. And so when you wear that lanyard, you're not just identifying who you are, but you're also identifying who you stand for and what you stand for. So I want to encourage you today, every Sunday when you put that lanyard on, to just look in the mirror and make sure your hair is combed and your teeth are brushed and that your face and your countenance is smiling and alive and awake. And then also remind yourself and pray that God would use you today. As you put that lanyard on, it's not just a name badge, it's significant. It's almost like the weight of the anointing for serving has begun. And so we want you to know that every time you serve, you need to wear a lanyard so that people know that, hey, this stranger isn't just passing me an offering bucket, but this person is supposed to be here. Every time you greet, it's not just a random stranger greeting me on the sidewalk, but instead this person has permission to be here. This is really important when it comes to the kids ministry, because we need to know, parents need to know, they need to have the peace of mind that everyone back here has permission to be back here. Everyone serving has been background checked and they have permission to serve here, and that's why the lanyard is so important. You'll also see some silver name badges around. These are for elders and staff. This is just the next tier of emergency. So if you have a question and you're wearing a lanyard that you can't answer, just find someone with a silver badge, and those people with a silver badge, they have just one level higher of responsibility. So if there's something out of your control, something that you can't answer, you don't know, just look for the silver name badge, and those people should be able to be kind of like the last resort for questions. Now, I trust most of you will be able to answer like basic questions as to where the restrooms are, or what time the service starts, or where does my child of this age group go. But if you don't have the answers, don't just tell somebody, I don't know. Say this: I'm not sure about that exact answer, but let me help you find someone who does, and walk them to someone until you find the answer. It's not good enough for us just to wear a lanyard and just be disappointing and to not have an answer and just let them go along their way. But instead, when you don't have the answer, find someone who does. And that's really important. Another thing is this: to not just point people in the right direction, but to tour them in the right direction. Take them all the way to where they want to go. Maybe they came to the main worship center entrance, but they have children that need to be checked in. You need to walk them all the way through the process to make sure they know exactly where their kid needs to go. And maybe you'll just stay with them the whole way so that they find their seat back in the worship center. It's really important that you not only see yourself as a directional person using your pointer fingers, but instead see yourself as a tour guide for our guests as they come in. So it's more than just wearing a name tag. This is the anointing that God has positioned you for. And it's so important that everyone that is serving be wearing